Hello, and welcome back to the definitive Starship Review series without access to a proper table, and I would wager the only Starship Review series to need to repair the Spider-Man, where today we are reviewing the USS Farragut from Fanhome, issue 3. This will be January 2025's issue. I've realized I should start specifying the year. And this you know what? First, let's set the ship aside. If you are only interested in the ship, you can skip ahead. There's chapters, because I have just remembered, as issue 3, there's a little bit of stuff about Fanhome as a company, and of course the subscription model method of getting these starships I want to talk about. Because if you get these starships through an annual a monthly subscription, there are a few free bonus gifts, and issue 3 is the first bonus gift. I did not plan for this bonus gift when planning out the framing. Yes, you get what would be the equivalent of the Eagle Moss binders. You know what? I'm just going to take a picture of this thing because I'm not going to get it on screen. And I briefly wanted to mention this thing. It will hold quite a lot of magazines. We're not at risk of running out for a while. But I wanted to talk about this thing in case people cared. For one, it is cardboard. It is a very thick cardboard. I think it's laminated. It's got a plasticky feel on the top. But yes, it is a cardboard thing. I would imagine not too cheap to make. It's also foldable, so they could shift it. It took a sec to figure out that, yes, these things do snap together. You just kind of got to push in a lot from that order on the bottom. But it is really sturdy. Like, you're going to need a lot of force to push that out. It took a bit of force to push in the first place, and I just can't imagine even, like, that many magazines really busting out the bottom there. So yes, if you want to know what this magazine holder was like, it's like this. I mean, it's got a nice design. It fits on my shelves, which is leagues above any Eagle Moss binder. But yeah, that's what that thing's like. And editing Nathan here, because I learned after recording this video, I was also supposed to receive a Rock de Gino mug that I didn't. But I'm looking at Fanhome now. The issue 4 has shipped, and I'm supposed to get the mug with that along with the Akutogram. So that happened. That's a thing that happened. But yeah, back to the main event. I can't remember if I've said much about this on previous videos. Even the announcement one. But the Farragut is a very interesting ship to me. Since seeing it, like, in the lineup, I remember my reaction was, really? The Farragut is number 3? Like, not the Protostar, there's so many hero ships we got, you could have even done. Not something from Lower Decks, like the Farragut? This plain, simple little thing? Look at this thing. There's, like, nothing to it. And just more generally, Strange New Worlds, I was very wary of, is a starship model. For 2 reasons. 1, they're very simple. Look at this thing. But 2, Reliant. This was perfection. The TOS Enterprise, this aesthetic, this is an elegant beauty. But this is the only class of starship a Federation starship, like proper military Starfleet Federation starship, we ever saw in TOS. And so over the decades, there have been many attempts to recreate this, another Federation starship of the 2260s-ish, the TOS era. And in my opinion, there have been just as many failed attempts to do so. I mean, the animated series had that ship class who I really should remember the name of. Bonaventure? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. You have even had, this is clearly, magazine confirms, this is a Miranda class. This is a take on a TOS Miranda class. Let's get that over here. Brilliant design, the movie era Miranda class. There have been many attempts I've seen to do a TOS Miranda class, and I'll be honest, it's the most successful of kind of bringing a future design back to TOS. But the concept has never worked for me, even with the Miranda class. There's just something about this that can't be replicated. They never look right. I can, like, the TOS was close, but just having a roll bar was kind of weird. I don't know. They've never gelled well. I see dreadnoughts of this thing. I've never liked a dreadnought class. You know, they're too bulky, or they seem to not. There's just something missing. I don't know. I've never been able to explain it. On Strange New Worlds, I never liked any of the on-screen designs for these old reimaginings. So boy howdy, was it a surprise. When I pulled this thing out of the box, you know, I've already got a very loving wife. But I've fallen in love. Oh my god, they have done it. They have made a TOS era just a design, a Miranda class. Oh my god, this thing. I don't know how well it's translating into video. This thing is perfection. The thing you get about the TOS Enterprise that really nails is that beauty in simplicity. It is very intentionally plain. It is very smooth, very plain. The idea being in the future, we're so advanced, we don't need these panels or anything. We don't need to access stuff from the outside. We can do all that from the inside. This big deflector dish that's retro but beautiful. I mean, these nacelles with the lights, the spinning, this just it's a circle with like a weird bump, but oh, it works. I get this. It's the same thing from this, and in fact I get it more from the TOS Enterprise than the TOS Enterprise. Look at this. You've got your markings, you've got this gray bits, you've got these bumps all over the nacelles, whatever the heck's going back here. You've got this famous patterns, which are still a pattern. They exist. Like I've understood the theory. I've never quite gotten like it feels like this is the purest execution of the theory, where this is of that plain simplicity. I mean, this design, there is one color, and it's the ceiling of the bridge. Nope, that's a lie. We got some windows way up in there. The sculpting on this is beautiful. It is in universe. It is the Strange New Worlds Constitution class bridge. You can even see the same window gap in there. This is what this should have been. The model is a little bit lighter. I think one of the reasons I did not like this in the show is it looks like a very dark gray. You know, it's probably realistic. It's a big hunk of metal floating in space. There's no lights other than the lights on there, and I've just learned that is doing a massive disservice to Strange New Worlds. This is what that Enterprise should have been. Yes, it has the Aztecing. It's technically not that pure smooth as a TOS. Yes, it has the panels. But when you look at this is a big chunk of white. Like, in camera, in person, like, I can see the Aztecing, but especially as you get the narrow ones, which we'll talk about so many profiles of this, because honestly, there's not... This is the detail. You've seen it. Just something about this sculpt. It's the perfect circle. Just the placement of these divots, the way the lines, because this would be a slightly raised platform to get this windowing, kind of bounds, the Farragut, the registry, the symmetry between NZC dash and then a 4-number registry. It's hard to explain why, because it is essentially a circle I am getting excited about, but I love this. The bump. Unlike the Enterprise, this doesn't go in. The TOS Enterprise, has got, starting from here, it goes in and then it curves out a little bit. This is more of a flat and curve up, which feels a little bit simple. This is going to be easier to build. In fact, the Miranda class, even on this little model, also has that divot in, and then it comes back up. I'm just going to leave you for reference. Like, removing this roll bar was the key. You can see these circle bits here for the nacelles. There's a lot of concept art where this continues up, and it's a ring. Looks god-awful. Just removing the roll bar was apparently what you needed. Over on the profile, you definitely have a Miranda class. I mean, the nacelles are swooped back, Actually, heck, I stand corrected. The nacelles are swooped back like the same angle on the Reliant class. Look at that. They're different scales, but that is the same angle. Brilliant. And yeah, I think the nacelles are in just the perfect place. I love these nacelles. Again, I've got it here. It is the Strange New Worlds Enterprise nacelle. I'm maybe not as huge a fan of this little thing right here, but I understand the consistency with Strange New Worlds. I like as a bridge, we're going from Discovery, which I mentioned last video, feels like an extension of Enterprise, the Enterprise era, where it's very rustic. You've got 50 different species all kind of clobbering together, trying to blend all this tech. You're not sure how. You got a lot of crazy things. And then we're kind of figuring out what's actually the ideal, which I think we kind of reach in TMP, is like we've hit the era where we've standardized these designs. We kind of know what they should look like. This is somewhere between, the Discovery, the latest eras of that Enterprise feel, and then this, where, we've got that simplicity. We're really so close to that TMP era. We've just got some legacy guys sticking around with more of that old style. But I also love how you push these back, but this little deflector dish pokes out forward. I am in love with this deflector dish. The original Miranda class doesn't actually... Oh, my goodness. Hey, look, it's a return of the broken roll bar. The original Miranda class does not have a deflector dish. If it is there, it's internal. I was going to say it's probably one of the first ones that doesn't have a deflector dish. Yeah, it's like the third starship. But anyway, this thing, I love the color. It's different to the bronzy thing on this model. It is different, but much similar to the red on this TOS Enterprise. I love this. I love just how this red pops. Like the little turbo nipples here, and then the bronze on this are the only source of color, besides this brief little registry. Oh, and I guess you do have some little glow in here. I love it. I'm not as big fan of his globe. I love when you make these red things pop. Even this front view, especially for TOS, this is a bit weird. But I'm kind of digging it. I like it. It is invocative of sort of some of that Vulcan tech, which was very curvy. They had those ring nacelles, but also just as a design, I like it. I point out that Starship designer is a job in Starfleet, and there are people who are going to be making some decisions because it looks good. It doesn't really matter what these nacelles look like, but this is kind of cool. Oh my goodness, you've died. But I love this deflector dish design. It kind of pokes out. It could just about make a little cone that covers the ship, which I realize isn't really how they work. There's a lot this one that don't really do that. But no, I am in love with this Farragut model, and I am genuinely excited. I don't remember how many other Strange New Worlds airships we have, but I am very excited for the others. Because I really hope this is just the style that Fanhome does Strange New Worlds in, is this lighter take. I don't even care if it's not screen accurate, because this is so much better than the darker grays we get over here. Look at this. You're basically TOS. You needed white. You needed a very, very, very light gray. You're the opposite of Lego Batman here. I mean, as I mentioned before, there's really not a lot of designs for you to look at. Those windows, actually, they are painted. Oh, yes, they are painted. Let me get the other finger. They're just so horribly misaligned. You couldn't really tell. Eagle Moss, welcome back. I do like that you get these little triangle bits, which are on, the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, down there. They are on the original Enterprise, right there. Not on the original Reliant, but I like this. Whenever we get to this 23rd century era, I like just invoking that. Heck, they're on, Excelsior classes, or Sovereign classes. Probably Excelsiors, yeah, that goes a while. The registry is all very clean. It is a little odd going over that line at some angles, but if you're not shining a super bright light on it, it makes more sense, and it is definitely readable. This bump here, I like this body, if you can even call it a secondary hull. There's just something about a very efficient design that knows what it wants to be, and it's gonna do it. It's 23rd century, it's 2260, we need a little bit bulkier. than, the Miranda class, which was just a tiny little bump. We still need like a bunch of mechanisms behind the secondary hull, maybe a tall warp core, but I'm really liking this. Nacelles, you can see some greeblies. It's mostly work in paneling and line work. I always like this little invoking of the red stripes you get on the original Enterprise, sort of a cross, between the Discovery stuff and Strange New Worlds. Not the biggest fan of that. And yes, there are some angles where this model doesn't work as well. That's probably its weakest one. You're showing off the fin. I like the blue more on the black. When you're not really seeing, like, you can't really marvel at the beauty of this primary hull sculpt. So these 3 bits of color really help on the back. Speaking of the back, you can see here, I really like this textured impulse grill. I don't think I've ever seen that. Is it on the TOS? No, it is not on the Strange New Worlds Eagle Moss model. It's worth pointing out this is the only Fanhome model you'll see. But down there, I like you get some greeblies. I assume a shuttle bay. What very clearly is that sort of TMP-style docking port. Oh, well, a TOS docking port. It's on here as well. Look, there it is. It's under the green light. Actually, wait, no, it's not. Where's the docking port? I don't know. I could have sworn there was a docking port on this model. Anyway, yes, you've got a lot of nice design tucked away in the back here. Just a little grate up there. You can see the lines. No idea what those are. Escape pods, torpedo launchers, heat exhaust. I don't know, but I like it. I am realizing, yes, you do. You've got the green and red lights. Very important, red and green. I mean, they're very subtle. I wouldn't want a big thing breaking up this hull, but they are absolutely there if you look at them. Look for them, sorry. Along the saucer, you can see windows. Come on, focus. There we go. You can see some windows, a bit of odd detailing here, possibly docking bays. Just all along here, just a little bit of windowing. You know what you want. These are the big windows, for like your cafeteria. You can see it's 2 decks. I like that. I think you get a great sense of scale with this. Like, that is apparently a story. There's a little slit you get right here, which really only sees head on, but I love it. And yeah, around the end of the turbos, just some nice sort of mechanical-y things to hold it. Again, we're a little less advanced than TOS, so I'm all for it. And a little bit of greeblies down here. But as I said, very simple model. I love it. It's the best case of the model. It just gave me a huge new appreciation for the ship. And I also want to appreciate, I actually have to go get the other 2 models. Here we go. You can see the Titan and the Stargazer. Pretty standard, they're about the same height, they're pretty consistent with a lot of Discovery, but you've probably noticed what I want to show off anyway, is that this Stargazer stand is really high. It is super elevated, especially to the saucer section. Like, these nacelles are higher than most of the Titan and the Stargazer, because they know where the money shot is, and it's this. It's basically everything between here and here. They've elevated the model because they've clearly kind of understood what's the best place to look at it. So, you get this comically massive stand. You would not think it's for the Farragut. But if all the Strange New Worlds models are like this, there's probably going to be a dedicated Strange New Worlds shelf somewhere in my basement. Because this is wonderful. Star Trek, if you're watching, Star Trek, yes, make the models in Strange New Worlds look more like this, because this is so much above and beyond what you're actually doing, and it is just like a swath of paint. It's like when they, someone just went in and changed the VFX model for Voyager, because when they made the VFX model based off the physical, for some reason it was like a little too blue. And for like a few seasons, and someone finally went, I'm changing that. And they changed it, and it just looks better, and no one told them off for it. But yeah, this is stunning. Absolutely worth it. If you were kind of looking at the model, but weren't sure about the subscription because of the Stranger Worlds line, I would definitely say give it a go. Absolutely stunning. I think there might be like the one nacelled Strange New Worlds, like a Freedom class equivalent. That'll be the true test, because I'm not a big fan of the Freedom class, the one nacelle. I'm absolutely a Carol Freeman. How do you even go to warp with one nacelle? But this is my favorite model that Fanhome has done so far, and I am shocked to be saying that. Absolutely shocked. It's so little, but the details that are there are so well. Even you can see in my film light, the way the light reflects off the rounded nacelles. I need more models with rounded nacelles, but it's more than that. Because look at how the light reflects off those nacelles. It's not nearly as good. 10 out of 10. This is probably, genuinely, this is probably one of my favorite Starship models ever, if you include the Eagle Moss stuff. But yeah, I will say thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time!